Coffee and Headlines is brought to you by the generous support of our viewers and the following community partners: Best Court Cutting TV, Buforge Tax Preparation, Bravos Restaurant Bar, El Rey Lounge de Versalles, Joint Boutique Hotel and Co-work, Montzon Brewing Company, Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback, Puerto Vallarta Owners Reps, and Siam Cocina Thai. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our community partners.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get-together live here on Facebook and also on YouTube, where we take a look at news from our city, our state, and our country. We take a look at your questions, ideas, comments, suggestions, everything we can get our hands on to improve the quality of our life, to improve our connections with each other, and also with our city, Puerto Vallarta. It is a pleasure to see you today. It is Wednesday, July 16. And I have interesting news to share with you today. I have a special feature on a Mexican landscape artist that you may want to know about. And we might as well get started with what we bring to the table. As usual, a capital letter N as in new will allow us to give you a nice friendly welcome if you're watching live for the first time. And if you have an important question or comment that you want showcased or highlighted later on, please add a capital letter Q and we'll be happy to do so. Let us take a quick look, and we start with a follow-up on this unfortunate situation that happened with three Mexican banks. Now we know that the National Banking and Securities Commission, or CNBV, announced several fines against all three financial institutions that were identified on June 25th for allegedly being involved in money laundering for organized crime and facilitating payments to Chinese companies for chemical precursors. In total, the CNBV imposed a massive fine of 185 million pesos, although each of the three financial institutions engaged in different types of sanctioned conduct. The banking institutions involved, of course, are CIBanco, Intercam, and Vector. Now, I'm not a banking expert, but I'll be the first person to say is contact the bank and contact your favorite banking expert to find out if this will have any impact on the money you have saved at these institutions. Moving right along, this bit of news just made me laugh a little bit. It reads, to create conditions for more orderly and safer mobility for public transportation users in the Puerto Vallarta to Bahía de Banderas corridor, authorities from Jalisco and Nayarit established a joint working group. Now, if I could have a $10 bill or a 100 peso bill or whatever for every time I have read since I moved to Puerto Vallarta that the authorities in Puerto Vallarta and Bahía de Banderas are getting together to find a way to improve transportation from one state to the other, I would have retired already. But I thought you would want to know. I mean, every 3 to 4 to 6 months, we get these news items that say, yes, they're going to get together in a mesa de trabajo, that's what it's called in Spanish, to improve transportation. So maybe this time they'll get it right, maybe not, but I thought you would want to know. Now, moving on to other things, following the recent death of two crocodiles in the region, Dr. Elios Hernandez Hurtado, who is a research professor at the University Center of the Coast, or CUCOSTA, issued an urgent call to the public to respect and ensure the conservation of crocodiles because they are a key species for the ecological balance of the Bahía de Banderas regions. And I quote, crocodiles are not a threat, but rather an indicator of healthy ecosystems. Their presence reflects the good condition of our bodies of water, he explained as a leading researcher on this species. According to data generated by the Cook, the estimated crocodile population in the area between Nuevo Vallarta, the Ameca River, and the El Salado estuary and its surroundings does not exceed 300 individuals. So it's not like there are a lot of crocodiles, he emphasized. There is a misconception that there are a lot of crocodiles, but in reality, it is a very small and fragmented population. So kudos to the university for trying to raise awareness on this very sad situation. Let us hope that we won't hear of any more crocodile killings. Now, on the one hand, changing gears altogether, this has to do with President Sheinbaum's relationship with Mark Carney in Canada. Of course, the Canadian foreign minister and our president have just held another telephone call yesterday or the day before, and I certainly hope they talked about friendly stuff. But I also found out that Canada is pressuring FIFA to move the World Cup inauguration to Canada. The opening ceremony, which is scheduled to take place next year on June 11 at the Azteca Stadium in Mexico City, may not be held there after all, because the Canadian government has pressured FIFA, the International Federation of Football, to change the venue for the first match due to alleged security risks in Mexico City. According to a couple of news websites, Canadian Foreign Minister Mark Carney sent a letter to FIFA requesting that neither Mexico nor the United States host the opening game. In the case of Mexico, Carney mentioned two recent events: the July 5th protest against gentrification, which led to vandalism, and the murder of two associates of Mexico City head of government Clara Brugada, who were executed on Calzada de Tlalpan, one of the main roads leading to the Azteca Stadium. If Canada gets away with this, and if the change is made, the Azteca Stadium would lose the opportunity to become the only stadium in the world with 3 World Cup inaugurations in 1970, 1986, and the third one, of course, would be next year in 2026. Now, rainfall has been brutal in the Guadalajara metropolitan area, and now the Weather Service, the National Weather Service, is expecting even more rain throughout our state today and also in Baja California due to another weather system. Let us turn over to Snarky Weather to see what's going on out there. Uh, oh no. Oh, Snarky Weather says, I was this close to leaking the Epstein files, but the fallout from keeping them hidden is way funnier. I'm not even going to touch that, but I will tell you that right now we are enjoying a temperature of 31 degrees. Boy, it's been balmy for the past couple of days. Humidity is at 68%, and our weather forecast for today indicates that it's going to be humid with mostly clear skies throughout the day, a chance of rain of only 18%, a high of 33, and a low of 24. Tomorrow, we can expect mostly clear skies in the morning with mostly cloudy skies in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 33%, a high of 33, and a low of 25. And then on Friday, mostly cloudy skies in the morning with thunderstorms in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 76%, a high of 32, and a low of 25. So if you are in town, you know it was really hot yesterday. It was really hot the day before. Let us hope that some of this rain that has been in abundance elsewhere in our state will find its way to us so that the temperatures come down at least a little bit. And I get no comfort from this news item, but maybe you might. In case you were wondering, we know that whenever it starts raining really hard in Puerto Vallarta, sewage water has a way of appearing out on the streets. And I thought you may want to know that this is happening also in the city of Acapulco, where sewage popped up in the middle of the tourist area. Of course, there is a teachable moment here, which has to do with one of our favorite Spanish words, guacala, which is the equivalent of saying ew. And we've mentioned this word before, and I figured I'd mention it again because it is a fun word to have in your vocabulary. Of course, there's nothing fun about caca water, but I digress. This one made me laugh as well. So there is a law that indicates that playing music in your car beyond certain established levels is unlawful. And there is a fine involved when you do. This fine can be anything from 566 pesos to 1,131. But of course, this is the law as it pertains to Mexico City. Here in Puerto Vallarta, I don't even know if we have a law. And even if we did, I don't even know if it is enforced in one way or another. But I thought you would want to know that there is such a law. Now, moving on, I found this great photo on the internet. It was on Facebook the other day. So who is this man, you may wonder, and why is he pointing at this beautiful landscape? Well, this is none other than the great Mexican tenor Rolando Villazon, one of Mexico's finest classical music stars and a fine operatic tenor. He found himself pointing at this beautiful painting by the late 19th century Mexican master José María Velasco. And this led to me being curious to, okay, where was Villazon and where was this painting? And I quickly learned that this is the first time that the National Gallery in London hosts an exhibition of this very much loved artist. So to acquaint you with his work, I put together a little something for you to enjoy and get to know this artist a little better. Take a look. When we think of national identity, we often go straight to the usual suspects: flags, food, music. But for Mexico, there's something else, something visual that shaped how we see the country even today. That something came from the brush of just one man, José María Velasco. Back in the 19th century, Velasco wasn't just painting pretty landscapes. He was giving Mexico its visual soul. He made the land itself a national symbol, and his favorite muse, the Valley of Mexico, that breathtaking basin where Mexico City sprawls today. One of his most iconic works, the Valley of Mexico from the hill of Santa Isabel, isn't just a painting. It's a statement, a wide, sunlit view of the valley with Popocatépetl and Iztaccíhuatl standing tall in the distance like ancient guardians. Before Velasco, landscapes in Mexico were often painted through a European lens, romantic, exotic, a little detached. But Velasco brought a new approach. His landscapes were detailed, scientific, and deeply personal. He didn't just paint what the land looked like, he painted what it meant. And that scientific side, totally intentional. Velasco wasn't just an artist, he was a scholar. He studied botany, geology, zoology, even physics at the Academy of San Carlos in Mexico City. That's why his work is so precise. The plants, the rocks, even the cloud formations, everything is as it would have appeared in real life. He was creating a Mexico that felt grounded, majestic, and modern all at once. A perfect match for the order and progress motto of the Porfirio Diaz era. Look closely at his latter paintings and you'll catch small hints of that progress creeping in. A wisp of train smoke crossing the valley here, a distant railway track there. Velasco didn't see modernization as a threat to nature. He saw the two in harmony. Today, his paintings are cherished national treasures, many of them housed at the Munal in Mexico City. And standing in front of one is a powerful experience. It's like looking at Mexico the way it looked before the 20th century came rushing in, but with the pride and clarity of a nation finding its identity. Velasco passed away in 1912, but his vision of Mexico, grand, dignified, and full of beauty, is still with us. His volcanoes still watch over the valley. His Mexico lives on, one brushstroke at a time. And there you have it. Let's see. Let's take a look at your comments. Many good mornings, which I appreciate. Thank you very much. La 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 la. Many good mornings. Yes, I thought this was interesting to learn. Barbara, again, I don't have an account at any of these banks. If you do, I would make some phone calls just to ensure that everything's going to be okay with your investments. Let's see what else. More good mornings. Thank you very much. Linda from Barco de Alva in Portugal. I'm so glad you guys are taking a vacation. That sounds like wonderful. Let's see what else. Oh, I love it. Are you and Mark on different devices? How funny is that? Hello to the both of you. Boom. I see a queue. Acapulco now for caca water. Yikes. Sayulita seems to have issues like that still. Just wondering. Well, I have not read that issues related to draining and drainage and sewage have gone away in Sayulita. So I'm going to assume that Sayulita still has this challenge. Let's see what else we have. Comments on the paintings. I tell you, looking at any of these landscapes by Velasco, if you ever have a chance to see them in person, you have to get close. I mean, they're large canvases, but you have to get close to admire the detail in these paintings. They are absolutely wonderful. And yes, Betsy, taking a trip to Mexico City just for art, visual art, is definitely something worth considering because of all the great museums in Mexico City. Of course, I would not go now while some of Velasco's prime paintings are on tour in England, but I was happy that I ran into that photograph by Rolando Villazón. And with this, we wrap up today's Coffee and Headlines. As always, I appreciate you for your company, for your support, for your questions and your comments, and I appreciate how you spread the word about everything we bring to the table. Today, there will be no spotlight recording as there were no signups, but we have great interviews already slated for the rest of the month. I'm looking forward to those, and you will find out about those as soon as they happen. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again tomorrow morning for more coffee, more headlines, and more stories. Have a great day.